Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Video Game Composer, episode 6. We are home today. Everybody's on quarantine. So I'm just going to hang out and work on some music today from home, which isn't much different than what I do normally, except my kids are home. And yeah, just killing some time. Hope everybody's doing good and staying above the fog, so to speak. I'm going to get started here in a little bit. I'm just making some social media posts and getting Twitch set up. Let's see here. Hope you guys are doing good, man. It's kind of a weird, it's a weird time. Like I said, I'm going to get started here pretty soon. Just getting the live stream all set up on YouTube and Twitch and making some social media posts so people know that I'm on. So, thank you for your patience. All right. I think we're just about ready to get started. Let's see here. All right. You can probably hear the rain outside today. It's very peaceful where I live out on the California coast. It's a nice overcast day. So I've been working on this composition that has a very kind of dreamy, rainy vibe to it. This is the initial piano riff that I laid down before we started here. I like that electric piano sound. So I'm basically riding off of this this C note here. And then taking this B note and kind of working my way backwards like this. Just kind of scaling down. So it's sort of like the arrangement of it, or the melody is basically going up on the C, then down on that B, and this is kind of when I work my way up from this C chord. I'm kind of creating a little bit of tension and then bringing it back down. So we're going to take that and build it up into more of like an orchestra kind of vibe. So this is our initial riff that we're working from. So what I like to do, typically, if I'm going to make something more or less into an orchestral kind of piece, the first thing I'll do is I'll sort of take this riff and kind of deconstruct it a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll take my low spots on the chord. So if we were to zoom in here and look at this on a piano roll, all these notes here, that C, dun 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 dun, we can bring that down. We can play it on cellos, we can play it on tubas, we can play it on big orchestral basses. So this is sort of how we would build something like that up. So we have a tuba, and we have some basses down here. Okay, so let's listen back here. Here's the first bass of that note. Excuse me. No, where are you? Here we go. So we have it here. So we're playing the low end of that chord on a tuba, and then we got some basses and some cellos taking the lead with that as well. So Another thing I like to do, and this isn't necessarily an orchestral thing, this is more of like an EDM thing that EDM producers do. But I have seen some people that work in film scoring and stuff do it. Is I'll take that same bass note and I'll sub it down to like a hip hop sub sound like this. And it's super subtle, but it goes a long way into filling out the sound. So if I bring that in with this this tuba sound and this big orchestral bass, you can hear it together. It's got that big kind of punch to it. So then if you go from there, you can start kind of layering some strings and stuff like that on top of it. So let's listen to what we got here. And we could bring in some more strings. So the goal here is essentially, when you're turning a basic piano riff into an orchestral thing, is the way that I like to look at it is it's sort of like you're covering your own song and interpreting it in sort of a new way. So if you listen to the initial piano riff, you don't want to lose the vibe of that. And so the goal is to kind of spread out all the chords on multiple orchestral instruments and maintain your vibe, so to speak, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just doing weird musician voodoo talk right now. But anyway, so where are we? We have some string bass. We have some tubas. We have a hip hop sub bass, which is basically, you feel it more than you hear it, especially on big speakers. It's that bass sound that kind of rattles your chest when people are listening to hip hop. And then on top of it, we can bring in cellos and violins and whatnot. Playing things that are a fifth above what we started with. Okay, so now if we go in here and we bring all of our basses back in, all of our low end, bring in some strings. Bring in some string counter melody. Bring in some cellos and other things that are a fifth above. Maybe bring in more that's a fifth below. So again, that's the original piano riff. And I actually have it, layered underneath everything. Although eventually what I would do is I would slowly just volume it out and just take the stuff out of it that I like. Like, for instance, I've built up all the low end now on tubas and cellos and strings and violin sections. And I've taken one of the melodies from it and put it on a French horn. So now all that's left is the stuff on, the stuff in the middle and on the top from that melody. So I could kind of take that and interpret it in a little bit different way on different instruments, and then I wouldn't need this original guide track at all. Although it by itself, with the rain in the background, is quite peaceful. So you might want to go back to it at some point, or start with it and build up into the big orchestral thing. And those are all decisions that can be made down the way. But for now, sorry, I'm freezing my nuts off because I'm in my garage. For now, it's more about just finding the different melodies and harmonies and what orchestral instruments you want to use. And then you get into the details, like adding big risers and swooshes and cinematic hits, the big like dance sounds and all that. But that comes later. First, it's about just composing. So this melody that comes in on the horns here, because it's up here, if you look down at the bottom in like the fourth and fifth octave, no matter what, because you're using a wind instrument like a French horn, it's going to slice through everything. It's just going to be so high and shrill. So that is going to be sort of like the main melody in that part. And then what you hear a lot in film score music is while the melody's going, you may hear something in an even higher octave that reaches even a little higher or even stays the same. But what it does is it sort of answers the melody. And what I mean by that is sort of a counter melody. So let's say you have this melody going. Let's zoom in so you can see here. So you have these long notes here, where if you're playing a counter melody, you can do a lot of little notes during the long note. And then you have these short choppy notes where you might want to just sustain a note out to not detract from it. And then again here on the melody, a big note going out, so during that sustain you can put choppy notes under it in the counter melody, and some choppier notes on the main melody, so again a sustain on the counter melody. So it's sort of like finding this balance between these two melodies, if that makes sense, where they're playing off of each other but not taking away from each other. So let's say that we have this melody here on French horns, or on horns. And maybe I double it, with a choir. And I want to play off of it with this melody here. So now if I introduce this guy, notice, like I said, I'm trying here. The goal is to accent the melody and have some fun and play around, obviously, but not play around when the melody goes to short, choppy notes. If it goes more staccato, then you want to drag a note out. Like these two notes I want to shine, so I'm not going to have this going underneath it, but together. So what you get is you get these kind of sweeping arpeggios that are doing a counter melody, but they're not interfering and fucking around with this guy up here. He's kind of his own island. And so when you listen to him in the mix, and obviously this isn't mixed at all, so it's a little muddy, but you'll get the idea. What I was saying was I can't really get too in depth with percussion right now because I'm using Nucleus Light Edition, which is still amazing. This is an awesome brand new orchestral program from Audio Imperia that I got the Light Edition from them to kind of test it out, road test it before I get the full expensive one. But since things aren't really broken up fully into single things with percussion, I just have a few of their really good samples, not the whole library. I'm a little bit limited on what I can do, but what I did was I layered some of these casas here. Nothing really special at all. And then what I like to do when I'm building a percussive thing is I'll build up to things with rolls. So I always think of a bunch of hippies in a drum circle and how it would sound, or like walking through the Renaissance Fair when you hear those big drum circles of doom 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 doom. And I always build up percussive elements that way. So this is just a big, giant, what is it, a timpani? Yeah. Just a big timpani. So it's kind of just like a steady march. It's nothing special. Honestly, if this were like a commission for a video game or a film thing, I would have to run through and just do a whole new percussive thing. But for now, for the sake of the stream and just having something there, this is where we're at. And then I like this big kind of gong sample they have in Nucleus Light. kind of makes me think of like people marching into war or something. So anyway, so what I'm going to do now is just kind of do some rough mixing stuff here, roll off some high end and stuff, just so we can actually hear things a little better. What I'm doing here is I'm just rolling off the high end on the low stuff. There's no need for there to be anything up in the 10K range where those horns are reaching. It'll actually hinder those and hold them back if you leave that in there in your bass instruments. And vice versa, you could roll off all the low end and a lot of your high instruments. So I want to bring that those high notes from that original riff. I want to make them a little more present in this because I kind of liked where they were in the original. So let's listen back here. I'm going to go ahead and throw on Contact, which is where the Nucleus Lite plugin is. Let's see here. Let's see. We got. I'm going to just start with strings. Let's just see how it sounds. This is my son Riley. Hey Riley, want to say hi?
Hi. I may have told you this before, but I need all of you to do me a favor. Since I'm a kid and kids always get what they want, I want you guys to follow Wodes Media right now.
Oh,
Click that
man.
button. Click that button.
It's
right
almost
now.
like we planned that.
Click it now. Click it.
I don't think you have to worry about that. The people that want to see it are already on.
Oh.
You want to give us your reaction? You want to listen to what I've been working on?
Sure.
Okay. You listen and you can give real-time reactions of what you think. I'll let
Okay.
you critique my stuff.
I can't hear anything yet.
Well, it's not playing. So this this is going to be my son critiquing my composition in real time. This should be fun. Here we go. Let me just save real quick. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Here comes a Riley critique in real.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so what did you think of the song?
I liked it.
Do you dig it? Cool,
Yeah.
thank you.
The only thing I feel like is that
And this is the reality of being home on coronavirus quarantine. I'm going to have kids popping in our streams. I'm going to have people crashing streams. It's the way it's going to be. Anyway, it's been fun coming on and streaming for a little while. I'm going to listen back to this one more time, and then I'm going to hit the road. So hopefully you guys had fun. I know I did. Talk to you soon. Kind of a fun one. This one still needs some love. I think a few more hours of digging into it and picking it apart. The strings could be a little more evolved. Obviously, it's not mixed yet. But yeah, there you go. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with me. Feel free to support the Patreon if you want to hear more of this. It's patreon.com/WoatsMedia. Let me see if I can add that down here. Patreon.com/WoatsMedia. Here is the Patreon. Feel free to support my streams. If you like what you hear, go to patreon.com/WoatsMedia and just donate $1 or $2. It keeps me going where I'm able to keep doing these every week. It also helps fund our podcast. Tomorrow's episode of the podcast is interesting. We had a guest scheduled, but due to the coronavirus thing, everybody's schedules are just crazy right now. So it's probably just going to be me and the Joes on the podcast, but we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to goof off, and we're going to laugh through the quarantine, man. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do is just make some jokes and have fun with your friends. Thank God for things like Skype and Twitch where we can reach out and talk to people and socialize. Otherwise, we'd all be like super isolated right now. So it's good that we can hang out and talk. So tomorrow we'll be doing that. Probably around 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to jump on. The three of us, we're going to chat for a couple hours. I'm sure that on Thursday, Joe Leary's going to do Art Smash. He's going to come on and draw. I may ask him if he'll let me come on as well, and I'll come join. We'll hang out and draw and chat with people together. I think it'd be pretty fun. So, yeah. I may come back on later today, too. I don't have any set schedule because I'm stuck at home. So it is quite possible. It's quite possible that I'll be here. So thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of the Video Game Composer. I may come back on a little bit later today and work on some music. Hopefully you'll join me. And yeah, stay safe out there. Don't take it seriously. Stay inside. Do what you're being told to do so you don't spread it and kill a bunch of old people. It's important. But also don't let the anxiety overwhelm you and overtake you on that same note. Find that middle ground. Find the gray area with it. Anyways, much love to you guys. This is Josh Breckenridge. I'm signing out.